Hello my dudes, and welcome back to my little corner of YouTube. If you're new here, I'm Evan and I knit things, and if you're a regular, hey, welcome back. I'm trying a new intro. What do you think? Let me know. Today, for me, is Friday, October 18th, and today I have for you part one of my Irish Knitting Tour 2024 recap. So, if you want to hear all about this year's Rachel is Knitting Irish Knitting Tour, stay tuned, because that's what we're going to talk about. So how this is going to work is I'm just going to talk to you about the tour, what we did on what day, what I liked, anything I picked up along the way, and I will put in videos when I have them, or pictures, or what have you. We have a ton to talk about, so let's go ahead and get started. So, first off, I went on this tour with my husband, Brett. This is him. So when I say Brett, now you know who I'm talking about. So I don't have to say my husband or my partner every time, because we're all going to get annoyed of that. So, we start on day, let's call it 0, shall we? Which was October 5th, Saturday, October 5th. Our flight left Cleveland International Airport at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So our kids were staying with my mom down on her farm, which is about an hour south of us, and Cleveland International Airport is about an hour northwest of us. So my mom was kind enough to come pick up the kids, so we didn't have to drive so far to drop them off, come back, go back to, yeah, it was a whole thing. So she came and picked them up. My father-in-law stayed with our dog and here at the house to take care of things there, which was also great. So we got to the Cleveland airport. Flight was at 3. We flew from Cleveland to Newark. We had a little bit of a layover in Newark, and then our flight left for Dublin at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Time. We arrived on October 6th, which was Sunday, October 6th, at 9:45 a.m. Ireland time, which is 5 hours ahead of my regular time. So needless to say, we were pretty tired. It's about a 7-hour flight from Newark to Dublin. Yeah, there was not a ton of sleep had. Let's just say that. So we arrived at Dublin, we got our bags, no issues coming through customs or anything, which is always nice. All bags were present and accounted for. We got a ride to our first hotel, which was the Grand Canal Hotel, which is right in like downtown Dublin. And we got there, I don't know, it was probably 10:30 in the morning, but check-in for rooms isn't until 4 p.m. So we didn't really know what to do. Got a coffee and pretty much said, well, let's sit here for a few minutes and decide what to do. And then some of our tour people who were also on the tour with us came down to the lobby, and they were about to go shopping. One of which was Leslie from Knit California. So it was so great to finally meet her in person. We've been friends for a while on the interwebs, but it was great to meet her in person. So she had been there a day already, and her and some other tour friends, we went out and looked around Dublin a bit. I got pictures at a couple places. We had lunch. We saw the Molly Malone statue, which, if you're not familiar, is a statue that everyone rubs her boobs for good luck. So they're real shiny, and the rest of her isn't. And that was kind of funny. So we shopped around a while. We saw a little bit of downtown Dublin. Brett and I were crashing pretty hard. We made it back to the hotel, laid down for a bit, had dinner with everybody. Well, not dinner. We got dinner and we had like a little meet and greet, get to know everybody that evening. Poor Rachel and her mom and sister's flight got delayed like a full day, so they weren't there yet. So Leslie kind of took over as head of the tour, and we chatted a bit, and then Brett and I went to bed early because we were just dead. Jet lag is real, apparently. The farthest I've ever traveled has been to, like, time zone wise, has been to California, and that's only a 3-hour difference. So, like, it doesn't make a super big difference. Like, yeah, you're a little tired or whatever, but crossing the Atlantic is a very different breed of jet lag. So, let's move on to Monday, October 7th, which is officially day 1 of the tour. We woke up and had breakfast. We had a little gather together for everybody where we introduced ourselves. We got to meet our driver John and our tour manager Jer. Jer was hysterical. I was unsure of her at first. She takes her job seriously, but she's also really funny. So Jer is short for Geraldine, if you're curious. So she was our fearless leader throughout all the craziness that happened. So after we met everybody, we had a tour of Christchurch Cathedral, which was really cool. It was super old. We got to go up into the bell tower. We got to tour the main floor and see the whole body of the church, and our tour guide was nuts. He was, wow, I don't even know. He was crazy. Yeah, he was real special. We got to see the crypts, and there was a few statues down in there, and there's a weird little gift shop. After Christchurch, we had to spend like forever driving around Dublin because I guess they're really serious about wanting Dublin to be more of a public transport city. So there are a lot of rules about who can drive where when. So we weren't traveling that far, but it took a while to get there. So Jer told us all the sights. I was listening and not taking any pictures or video or anything. But then we headed over to the yarn shop, This Is Knit. And I picked up 1 skein of yarn. And I know you're thinking, 1 skein? One? Okay, well, we had a lot of shopping excursions planned, so I didn't want to like go ham in the first place. And yes, I vastly regretted it later, which is very, very sad. But I did pick up 1 skein of their in-house yarn, which is called Townhouse Yarns. And the base I got was their Claridon sock, which is a merino cashmere nylon, which is really nice. And the colorway was called Guinan. I'm sure I'm butchering that, but it's Guinan. And I would show you the skein, but I already knit it. So as you know, I took my The Dress test with me on this trip to work on, as it was one project in stockinette that I could work on the whole time. Well, after I got past the hip increases, it quickly became aware that this project was just too large to be carrying around the Irish countryside with me. So I wound up this ball that I got at This Is Knit, and I started a Musselburgh hat. And I started it, and I finished it on the plane on the way home. So, that's a Musselburgh, knit entirely on the trip. Look how cool this color is. There's even like some teal in there that's not really showing up on camera there, but hat start to finish on the trip. So, that was first purchase and also a finished object. So, after This Is Knit, we shopped around Dublin a bit in the same place we had gone to before, the day before. But we got to see a couple different things that we hadn't seen before, which was fun. And then that evening we headed to the Royal Marine Hotel and had dinner there, and then went to bed. So day 2 of the tour, Tuesday, October 8th, we stayed at the hotel all day. We had a couple workshops, which I'll get to in a minute, but most exciting bit, there were 2 famous people staying at the Royal Marine Hotel the same time we were, and I saw the back of one of their heads but didn't see the other. So the first one, Rachel spotted, Maisie Williams. I saw the back of her head when she was at the counter, but Rachel actually talked to her. So that was pretty exciting. And then someone saw Bill Nighy as he was checking in and like got a picture. I didn't see him though. But I thought that was super cool. We also at one point drove through the town where Cillian Murphy lives, so that was cool too. Anyway, back to day 2 of the trip. We had breakfast in the morning, and then after breakfast we had a Tunisian crochet workshop with Ava Nee, and she taught us how to Tunisian crochet and how to make these little mitts, which I will grab and show you. So I do crochet, but I have never Tunisian crocheted before, and it was basically like, okay, here's how you cast on, and here's the basic stitch, now here's your ball of yarn, and follow this pattern. So I did, and we made these little mitts. And they're Tunisian crochet. Lucy, go lay down. So they don't really fit great. They're a little wonky, and I don't think I would actually wear them regularly. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip these out, and with the remainder of this yarn and other yarns that we acquired in workshops, I think I'm going to like Tunisian crochet like a scarf or something, and it'll be like out of all the yarns from workshops in Ireland, and I think that'd be really cool. But I learned Tunisian crochet, which I like a lot. It's like if crochet and knitting had a baby, and I like that. But like I knit a pair of mitts specifically for the trip the day before, and they fit better than these. So I think I'll keep those, and I think I'll rip these out. Because they're just 2 rectangles that you sew together. So nothing too complicated there, but that was really fun to learn. I liked it a lot. I didn't take any pictures, but here's a couple pictures from that workshop. After the Tunisian crochet workshop, we had afternoon tea, which was amazing. Afternoon tea is now my new favorite lunch of all time. It's like girl dinner, but lunch with tea and cakes and little sandwiches, and I loved every second of it. After lunch, we had a Mobius knitting workshop, with Lisa Sisk of This Is Knit that we had visited the day before. So she came in and taught us how Mobius knitting works, and let me get that to show you. So Lisa Sisk taught us how to Mobius knit. I have done this before, but it was a really long time since I had done it. But once she showed us the cast on, I remembered, and so I picked it up. And so here is the Mobius cowl. It's basically, I mean, it's a figure 8. You start the cast on in the middle, and then you're working both directions at the same time. And then there's a little picot border, and so this I will not be ripping out. This will just add to my cowl collection, but I do have about this much yarn left over. Focus, please. And so I think that'll go into the Tunisian crochet scarf as well. Because all the workshops we had were like around worsted weight. So I think it'll work out. So this I will not rip out because it's cute. Yeah. There's my, it still needs blocked though, like, there it is. See, I can show you, like, if we start here and you go all the way around without taking your hand off. I mean, obviously I had to for that, but see, it would go all the way around, and look, my hand ends up back at the same place again. So, after our Mobius knitting workshop, we had dinner, and I finished my cowl at dinner, which is apparently a new record, so if you care about that. And then we went to bed. Then, day 3 of the tour, we woke up and had breakfast, still at the Royal Marine, but then we checked out, and it was time to leave the Royal Marine. And then we headed over to Sandra Coote's Crafts of Ireland for a needle felting workshop. So Sandra Coote's just has like this workshop and this little sheep farm of like all kinds of really random crafty old stuff, which she just told us all about. And we learned how to needle felt. So she taught us how to needle felt a landscape. So this was the one I made. There's a cat and some hills and a river, stream, what have you. And that was that. I didn't love this workshop. I didn't think it was as cool as like a lot of the other people did, but it was fine. It was fine. The tea for afternoon tea was really good. I liked that a lot. It wasn't my favorite. I probably wouldn't choose to do it again, but I was really glad that everybody else had such a great time. After that, we headed to the Knightsbrook Hotel for dinner, and then nothing exciting after that. So Wednesday was a relatively chill day. It was kind of long travel, so we traveled over a lot of Ireland. We were in a different town almost every day, so there was a decent amount of travel involved. If I recall, on this day was the day we were coming into a town and there was a really old castle, and it was cool. So we stopped to take pictures of the castle, and then headed to the Knightsbrook Hotel. So day 4 of the tour was Thursday, October 10th. We had breakfast and we checked out of the Knightsbrook. We were only there for one night. Then we went to Zwartlis Sheep Farm for a chat with Susanna Crampton and about her sheep. I did not take any photos or videos there. I was enamored by sheep and the farm dogs and the alpacas, but somebody did catch a really cute picture of Brett and I, so I'll put that up there. Then we had lunch at the Waterside Restaurant, which was absolutely gorgeous. The food was fantastic. I had this like really good flatbread with caramelized onions, and I don't remember what else was on it, but it was super good. Then we walked over to Cushendale Woolen Mills, which was one of the highlights of the trip. It is the oldest functioning wool mill in Ireland, and it has equipment from the Victorian era, and it was so cool. We got to see the stuff working, how they turn literally fleece into yarn, and then they weave it in looms. They sell yarn too, but they also sell like blankets and scarves and things like that. We purchased some things for gifts for Christmas for people, so I can't show them to you, but I also did get something for myself. I didn't buy any yarn at Cushendale because they only have original Irish wool, and it's definitely much more rustic than my skin will permit me to wear or use. But I did find these amazing buttons that I just liked how they looked. They're all a little bit different. There's 5 of them. And I was like, okay, these are cool wool covered buttons. They're like kind of a tweed pattern. I liked them. They were 5 for 10 euros, and I was like, oh, like cool little like discard buttons. Focus. I thought they were cool. And then we were checking out, and the owner of Cushendale was like, oh, look at these buttons. And I was like, yeah, they're really cool. I'm going to put them on a cabled cardigan that I'm making. And she was like, my grandmother made these. And I was like, no way, your grandmother made these? She was like, yeah, they were like one of the last things she made before she died. Mind blown. I about freaked out then. And we spent a decent amount of money, so she gave them to me for free, first of all. And I am like the least sentimental person on the planet, but I will treasure these forever. Like, look at that. Her grandmother made them before she died. Amazing. Amazing. So these buttons are going to go on my book club cardigan unless they look really bad, in which case I will make something specifically for these buttons. So that was what I got at Cushendale, plus the things that I can't show or tell you about because they are Christmas gifts. So after Cushendale, we headed over to the Lyrith Hotel for our stay there. It was stunning. It's like this 18th century manor home that's been turned into a hotel, and it was absolutely incredible. It was gorgeous there. Gorgeous. The grounds were amazing. It was so beautiful. So that's the end of day 4. Day 5 of the tour was Friday, October 11th, 2000. Well, I don't need to tell you it's 2024. I don't know why I wrote that down. Now I'm just going to confuse myself. Anyway, we wake up at Lyrith. It's gorgeous. We woke up and it was this beautiful, like, super foggy morning. It was very, like, walking out onto the grounds was very, like, walking out onto the moors with Pride and Prejudice. I'm just waiting for Heathcliff to, like, come offer me his hand and confess his love for me. Heathcliff? Waiting for Mr. Darcy to... Yeah, that's what it was like. Like, yeah, it was stunning. So then after breakfast, I wasn't feeling well. People were starting to get sick on the tour, which was not great. I was starting to feel bad, but not like super bad yet. I just felt like I had a cold. But then we went to Nicholas Moss Pottery, where we got a tour of the pottery studio, like from how they go from clay to finishing, and we got to see these giant kilns and how they sponge each piece individually. It was pretty cool. It reminded me of my studio art days in high school and college. We ended up getting a mug with fuchsia flowers on it, which is currently in the dishwasher, but I will put a picture of what it looks like. Then after the tour at Nicholas Moss Pottery, we went over to the Rock of Cashel, which was this really cool ancient church, cathedral, what have you. We had a guided tour there to learn all the history. The views were amazing. It was cool to hear all the history and learn about it. Unfortunately, there were literally spiders falling out of the sky the entire time. Like, we're just watching spiders falling on people. Like, there was one on my glasses, there were 3 in my hair, they were on my rain jacket. Brett had one fall on his head more than once. Like, when we were leaving, we had to just be like picking spiders off of people. Like, they weren't like big gross spiders or anything, they were like the teeny tiny ones, but it was just, it was awful. But anyway, Rock of Cashel was gorgeous. I'm sure I have a lot more video than what I was just talking here, so insert rest of videos here. So after Rock of Cashel, we went back to the Lyrith Hotel, we had dinner, and we went to bed. Now, our room was, because the way the hotel is situated, the back half of the hotel is lower than the front half because it's built into a hill. We had a room that was half underground, like it had gorgeous views from like the window side, but the back half of the room was underground. So we get a call at, like, it was like 1 in the morning from my parents, and I'm like, oh no. But the call drops as soon as we pick up because we're underground. So Brett like gets dressed and like runs outside to take this call. Our younger son Henry tripped on a log and broke his wrist. So that was super fun. If you are unfamiliar with living in a small town area, the local hospital doesn't always do everything. Like, they may not have someone who can set a child's bones. So they put him in a splint. They x-rayed it and all, and then they sent him home with my mom and dad. And it couldn't get set and casted until Monday. So he had to just hang out in a cast, or in a splint, with a broken wrist, from Saturday and Sunday until, like, the orthopedist, the only one in the area, opened on Monday. So that was super great. Not something you want to hear when you're on vacation thousands of miles away across the Atlantic Ocean, that your kid has broken his arm. Particularly since he has broken this arm before. A different place. He broke it up here when he was 3. But now he has a broken wrist down here, both bones. So that was great. But don't worry, he's okay. His arm is cast now. We did have to take him back to the doctor this morning because I guess either the swelling had gone down or like his cast got a little wet in the shower. He was able to move his wrist inside the cast, and that's exactly what we don't want. So we had to go have it recast this morning, and he does have another appointment in a couple days just to make sure everything's going okay there. But he is all right. He's healing. We're glad to be home with him. So that's where I will end part 1 of the Irish Knitting Tour recap. Stay tuned for part 2. I think this series should only need to be 2 parts. Although, like, I have a lot of footage of a couple of things that we did on the rest of the tour. So, if you liked this video, like, subscribe. We're on a journey to 500 subscribers. We're at around 130 right now, so thank you so much to all of you who are already subscribed, and click that subscribe button if you aren't yet. You're also going to want to click the little notification bell so you'll be notified of my next upload whenever that next installment of the Irish Knitting Tour recap will be, because I don't know. Lots of appointments right now, lots of things going on. It could literally be any time, or it could just be next Saturday. I don't know. We'll have to see. Go follow me over on Instagram. I'm going to be putting up some reels of footage from the trip, and you can check those out over there. I hope you like this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye!